You know, when we signed Gabriel Jesus from Manchester City in the summer of 2022, damn near every single one of us Arsenal fans were so excited for the signing. After missing out on the top 4 the season prior, we were all convinced that Gabi Jesus would have a huge hand in taking us to the Champions League and would be our number 1 striker with years to come. Paired with Martinelli and Bukayo Saka, our front 3 was set for the next 5 to 10 years. And while technically Gabi Jesus did exactly what we had hoped for, helping bring us to Champions League football in his first season at the club, even though he only put up 11 goals and 6 assists and only managed to play 26 games out of a possible 38 in the Premier League, which, I mean, those, to be fair, are kind of good stats, but they aren't stats of a lead striker for a team competing for the title. Regardless, in his first season, he helped the team accomplish an amazing season, not only securing a Champions League spot for the first time in 7 years, but also competing for the title until we eventually fumbled towards the end. But with us this season competing even more so for the title than we did last season, with us making it to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and looking next season to make that final step to finally get our hands on either a Prem and or a Champions League title, there are rumours now that Arsenal would be willing to listen to offers for Gabi Jesus just 2 years after buying him from Manchester City for £45 million. And between Gabi Jesus being injured for almost half the games this season and only scoring 4 goals all season long in the Premier League, well, I kind of get why Arsenal are willing to do this. But is this the right move for Arsenal at the right time? Is Gabi Jesus just not good enough to take us to where we want to go? Or should he at least be kept as a good, high-quality backup/rotational player, especially with the fact that he still has 3 years remaining on his contract? Well, that's what we'll be talking about today. So what's going on, everyone? You are listening to Gunner Central here. I hope everyone is doing well. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, let's just be honest. I don't think anyone will disagree with this statement. As much as Gabi Jesus is a good, hard-working player, he can score amazing goals, he can have some beautiful skill, heck, even at times prove to be a decent playmaker, Gabi Jesus is not by any means a first-choice striker for a Premier League winning team. He just isn't, and he never has been, and at the age of 27, I don't think he ever will be. Now, obviously, he has won the Premier League before, but even with Man City when they won the Premier League, he was never their first-choice striker. Always being used as a winger or just a rotational striker to come in for lesser games or to allow their main players to get some rest. Now, does this mean that I don't think Gabi Jesus is a good enough player for Arsenal? No. I still think he is a very useful member of our squad, capable of giving us some very good minutes when need be, but let's just be honest, he isn't a starting level striker for the type of team we want to be. He just isn't. I mean, when a midfielder in Kai Havertz, who I just made a video about, when a midfielder in Kai Havertz can come into the squad and within the first season of signing Kai Havertz, he can already displace Jesus as our best striker, well then that should show exactly what I'm saying. Whenever we drop Kai Havertz back into midfield and allow Gabi Jesus to start at striker, well then we just don't play nearly as well. If Gabi Jesus starts with Kai Havertz, well then it's Gabi Jesus that has to move out of position to go to winger, because Kai Havertz is a better striker than Gabi Jesus, yet Kai Havertz is practically a midfielder. Look, Gabi Jesus has had a really good Champions League campaign this season. I mean, he scored 4 goals and got himself 3 assists in just 8 games this season in the Champions League. Very good stats. But he has just been very underwhelming in the Premier League this season. There's no other way about it. He's played 24 games this season for Arsenal in the Premier League, yet he's only got 4 goals and got 4 assists. Gabi Jesus has more yellow cards in the Premier League, that being 6, than he has goals. That's our starting striker. That's our first choice striker. Yeah, that's just in no way good enough. Not to mention that he has missed 8 games alone this season in the Premier League due to injury. So between not nearly putting up the numbers you would expect out of your first choice striker, your first choice number 9, and constantly being injured, and I mean overall just not looking like he'll ever reach the level you'd want to see out of your striker, well then I am in agreement of how Arsenal want to approach the summer with Gabi Jesus. I would also be very willing to listen to offers for Gabi Jesus. Now that doesn't mean that I would want to sell Jesus for any offer I get. It has to be the right offer, because I would actually, if it was up to me, I'd rather choose to keep Gabi Jesus as a good rotational type of player and rather sell Eddie Nketiah off. But again, if an offer comes around, say around 40-ish million pounds, well then I would be very willing to sell. Again, I just don't see him ever reaching the level we want to see out of him. But I think if we could keep him as a backup player, if the right offer doesn't come in, well then I think that would be the perfect move. That would be my preferred move. He is capable of playing across the front line, and he has proven that when he's fit, he's able to provide some good minutes, score some goals here and there. And as a player, he would only add to the depth and quality to our bench, but also he would push whatever striker we get to perform at their best ability, because Gabriel Jesus would be waiting. If it was up to me, I would keep him as a rotational player. But if we do have to sell him in order to fund a big move in the summer for a striker, well then again, I'm behind that. I'm willing to sell Gabriel Jesus. I would listen to offers for Gabriel Jesus, but if the right amount of money isn't there, well then we should keep him at least as a backup. Listen, at the end of the day, it hurts a little to make this video. It hurts to say these things. I like Gabriel Jesus, and when Arsenal signed him, I was pretty convinced that we had our guy, that we had our striker for the next 5 years. But to get to where we want to get to, we have to be ruthless, and we can't use emotion in the transfer window. We're going to have to make a lot of big decisions in this upcoming summer. We're going to have to sell some guys that mean a lot to us emotionally, but we have to be ruthless if we want to take that next step, that final step, to finally get our hands on a Premier League or a Champions League. I just don't see Gabriel Jesus ever being that guy for a team that wants to win the Premier League. I just don't see that ever happening. He wasn't ever that guy for Man City. I don't think he'll ever be that guy for us. And listen, at the end of the day, we need ourselves a 20-goal-a-season striker. And if we're being honest, well, Gabriel Jesus just isn't that.